Oh, good morning. It is my last full day of my trip. I have to make it a solid 40 kilometers, I think about 43 kilometers today, to my Floatplane pickup location. I'll be meeting my Floatplane tomorrow morning at like 8:30 or 9 a.m. I got to make it through the most challenging rapids of the entire trip on the Peel River, and I got to get there before it's too late. Oh yeah, warm. One packet of instant oatmeal left. This is a mixture between maple brown sugar, 3 maple brown sugar, 1 apples and cinnamon. Nailed it. Watch how strong I am. Just destroying full rocks with just a mere tap. I have no idea why those rocks look completely intact, but are just dissected with many cracks. Maybe there was land here and a flood came through in the spring and put moisture in them, and then they froze over winter and the water never got back up that high. But if you look along the shore here, there's just large swaths of this river where obviously there was a flood maybe 2 springs ago, and the ice breakup just demolished everything along shore. It looks like it was a cut slash almost, because the power of the ice being pushed by the current and flood conditions just knocked every tree down a ways from the river, and all there is just bent in half and snapped off trees now. The way I'm loading the boat is trying to get as much weight forward as I could. So when the food barrel is heavier, I put it closer to the bow. Now that this is heavier than the food barrel, I put this closer to the bow. And that's because when I'm sitting in the back, I'm quite heavy. I'm sitting closer to the stern. When I'm sitting closer to the stern, it means that I'm not trimmed evenly. The bow sticks up a bit. Ideally, the best way to be trimmed is perfectly evenly. I still won't be trimmed evenly, but a lot closer to it. Got a couple rapids to start the day off. 1, 2. Then I head back into a long section of Braided River, and then after that it's only about 4 clicks till I'm on the Peel. Alrighty, all ready to get going. So I'm gonna push off. Not too hot out yet. Looks like we have another beautiful day. Talk about a crazy stretch of weather. With any luck, you'll see me pulling up just before Canyon Creek today, probably late this evening, where I will await my Floatplane pickup tomorrow morning. So wish me luck. Got some obstacles in front of me today. Got a long way to paddle, but I should be able to do it. Here we go. Well, I'm not done it yet. I have probably about 30K to go on the Hart. What a sick river. Just all those crazy ridges with the rock spires. I believe that's called castellated ridges. where you see those sharp triangles and spires up on the mountains. It's a sign that glaciers might not have touched this area for a very long time. The fact that all those aren't just carved down and smoothed down. Looks pretty easy, but the marked rapid is after this little island, not before it, so this isn't really my concern. One big purling wave that touched my back there. I was trying to just go close to it. Probably just should have bombed it. Hi, seagulls. How much further to the peel would you say? Thanks for nothing. Okay, what did I do? Looks like a pretty big drop. Oh yeah. Oh, she's a big one. She's a big one. Sit up midway through that little rapid because I started getting a spasm in the bottom of my foot, which tells me that I'm not drinking enough water. When you have to treat your water, it's easy to just like try to ration it. Oh, I don't want to drink any more now, I'll wait. And just don't do that. Put my life jacket on, I've got a bit of a ledge here. Oh, I'm gonna miss it. Some of the rock formations and just the way the lines of strata are twisted and pushed up. Definitely sedimentary rock here we're seeing, and that's because this whole area was once at the bottom of a shallow sea, and these mountains around us have been growing for 2 billion years. Pretty amazing. Definitely different than at home where you see the big hills are all solid granite, igneous and metamorphic quartz and stuff like that, which are even older in where I'm from in Ontario and wherever the Canadian Shield sort of spreads to, way up and then over into northern Saskatchewan and into Minnesota and stuff like that, into Quebec. That massive Canadian Shield area is some of the oldest exposed bedrock in the world. And those hills, we don't have mountains in Ontario, but you get up to, you know, the North Shore, Lake Superior, or even around Killarney, and you have stuff that resembles mountains, but they're so ancient, they're so old. Those hills in the Canadian Shield once rivaled the Himalayan mountains in height. Just making my way about a long stretch of what should be relatively easy river. The current isn't exactly ripping, but it's not slack either. So I think with any luck I should be able to do it today, as long as those rapids aren't too challenging. I'm in these braids here and I have no idea which way to go. Last thing I want to do is end up on some tiny little braid that meanders through the dense bush way off the river. Hopefully something will reveal itself to me shortly. Was gonna go that way, but it's too shallow. Well, I don't know if that was the best channel to take, but it was definitely one of the more spirited ones. I don't know if there really is any channel that's the main channel through this stretch. Wow, what a beautiful day it is out here. This is just so awesome. A little stressed at the distance I have to make, but just try not to think about it because I'll do it. That was quite a whirlpool there. Wouldn't have dumped me, but it would have probably spun me around. Well, the Hart River has been kind today. Started the day off with a really fun rapid, and yeah, not too much tricky business. Some braids, but nothing that sent me into any narrow channels with sweepers. And I'm about halfway there now. It's probably about 3 in the afternoon. So depending on the rapids, earliest I would get there is like 7:30. Latest would be like 8:30, I think, if all goes well. But I don't know, those rapids might need a lot of scouting and lining and stuff like that, so we'll see. But yeah, I'm not exactly flying along, but and leaving, you know, 40K for your last day maybe isn't the best plan, but I think it was worth it because I got to do that extra hiking when I was in the really mountainous region of the river. Flipping my maps over. This is the last map of the adventure. Almost off of the Hart and onto the Peel. Crazy! It's hard to leave it behind. Oh, hilarious! And there it is. I see the Peel River. In about 100 meters, I can say I paddled the Hart. Now the most challenging whitewater test of the whole trip is about to hit me, but still, wow. Noticeably bigger than the Hart River. Got some clouds moving in. Looks like some weather might be moving in. There's the Hart. Bye-bye, Hart. It's just cool to think I can just float this river all the way to Fort McPherson and the Dempster Highway and then continue to the Mackenzie and the Arctic Ocean at Tuktoyaktuk. So pretty amazing. Long journey. Maybe one for another time, but still got many. Let's see how far I got. 5, 10, 15. We're not out of here quite yet. 15K. I'm on the Peel River! I just did the Hart. I just paddled the Hart River, ladies and germs. The Peel River. It's huge. There once was a ship that put to sea, and the name of the ship was a Billy O.T. Her winds blew hard, her bow decked down, Billy by my Billy boy go. Soon may the wellerman come, who will bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. Other people. Another camp. I wonder if they're stopped for the day already. Probably are. Coming up to what looks like a little whitewater here. Maybe not much, but I'm just on my toes a little because I do have a couple serious rapids coming up. Yeah, this looks like a ledge. Probably could just run it anywhere. It looks like over there's a lot of boiling water, like a hole. This is definitely not the marked rapid yet though. Yeah, I wouldn't want to hit that. Well, here's the first set of rapids, and it looks like there could be a big ledge there. Maybe I better pull over and scout. It doesn't look too bad, but just to be safe, it does look like there's a big ledge and there might be a good place to hit it and a bad place to hit it. Well, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna take what is a pretty easy line on my side, but then at the end things get a little interesting and I can't get down there to scout it without scaling this cliff. So at that point I may run into some reactionary movements, but up here I'm gonna just run these two ledges on the tongue close to me. It should be pretty easy, so here we go. Rocky. That was where the real wild ride was. I missed all those huge standing waves. I could have rode that wave train and not hit any rocks though. Interesting rapid though, so wide and just one ledge after the other, just the bedrock ledges is what it's pouring over. Another rapid just downriver, and then after that I think will be the doozy. So a little more whitewater terror to come. Just saw another cow moose. It saw me before I saw it, and when I looked up at it, I just had the sense something was staring at me, and when I looked up at it, it was just staring like this. Didn't look too healthy though, unfortunately. It looked kind of skinny, but yeah, pretty neat. Well, it is getting on in the evening, and starting to feel a little tired. It's been another hot day, but I am on this gravel bar trekking down to scout the last rapid of this adventure. After I get past this, I am 3 kilometers from my Floatplane pickup location, and it's looking like it's going to be something pretty interesting, but so far it looks runnable. I'm going to come down, I'm going to eddy out there, I'm going to try to hit this on the far right. That's some weird current in there. I'm trying not to get too squirrely. Then turn right and try to avoid that at the end. But then look, downriver we have more. So we got some tricky currents in here. It doesn't look like an easy rapid at all. Some boiling currents, and then downriver there's more whitewater. I'm gonna give it a go though. Here I thought I was gonna get away with the trip with no terror, and I'm faced with a really tricky rapid with huge waves, pinning boulder down at the end, really intense, crazy currents, and just absolutely terrifying. And literally my end site is only 3 kilometers away on the other side of this thing. So this trip is going to give me a really good test before it lets me out of here. And it's getting late too. I ate some food. I'm going to strap my dry suit on and I'm going to run this thing. Dry suit. Dumping on this would be extremely unbeneficial for my health and general well-being. Hopefully by the end you'll see me cheering with the right side of the canoe facing up. Here we go, baby. There's some crazy shit in there. Man, it should basically avoid everything, but there's some stuff that if I hit, not a chance. Here's the next one coming up. It looks intense too. Holy Eddie out. Check this one out too. That's what I just ran. Well, it got stormy. Here's the next drop. I'm not gonna lie, from here it looks harder than the last one. Well, I'm gonna go scout this one out. It goes to the left and then it bends back to the right, so there might be more around the corner. But I think after this I'm home free. It's just that this one looks potentially crazier than the last one. I'm just hoping there's some sort of like sneak route or something where I can bypass the crazy stuff that'll dump me. It looks like I could come along here and avoid all that crazy stuff to the right of it. And once I'm past that, it looks like I'm home free. Looks like maybe I can avoid all the crazy stuff by saying just right of it. But there's some stuff in there that if I hit, guaranteed dump. I could line down the first ledge and then run it. But even that's tricky. Could probably line down there and then run it. This was once at the base of an ancient sea. Just want to check what's around the corner. In case I dump, I should be aware of how terrified I need to be to get my boat to shore. Through here and all the way up to there, the big part. Well, I am thoroughly mortified. I'm basically running a line. It's like walking on the edge of a cliff. If I don't hit that line and I go too far left, I fall off into the huge holes and dump for sure. The hard part's going to be finding where to line it up at the beginning. That was one of the biggest fucking wave trains I've ever run. Holy, that was a class 4. Woo! Almost got stuck on that standing wave. I'm gonna line it down a bit because it's a cliff here. Woo! Yeah! So I wasn't able to get right and I hit the brunt of it, but I made it. So I came into it too far right, so I had to turn hard left. And then I had no time to turn back hard right, and I was right into her. I tried switching sides and paddling hard on my left and realized there's just no chance, and then boom! Just hammered the big wave. That camera there, from the brunt of the wave, bent down unfortunately, but holy shit. And then the wave was so big and it was so boiling on the top, if I didn't paddle, I would have stuck and surfed on it and slid back in breach and dump, and I had to like beast paddle myself up a mountain and back down like a whitewater rafting maneuver. Wild, baby. I gotta bail and go over there and get my camera. It's on the other side. What a way to finish off the trip, running the biggest wave train I've ever run, I think. Anyways, class 4 fucking wave train, baby. Woo! A lot of water. Not that much though, considering. Wow, I am still buzzing after that one, baby. Holy shit, that was so fun, man. Like, that was the most fun ever. Well, 3 clicks left. I'm just going to pull over and punch in my exact pickup location so I don't overshoot it here. Maybe take a couple of casts. What did I want to eat for dinner on my last day in the Yukon? Arctic grayling, please and thank you. But yeah, it looks like there's a little class 1 or 2 ahead of me, and hopefully it's home free until camp. So I'm definitely coming down the home stretch here. Probably get to camp around 8:30. Whoa, this Paragrane Falcon is dive bombing me. I think the Paragrane Falcon nest must be on these cliffs here, and they're not too happy about me paddling along beside, so they're dive bombing me and yelling at me to beat it. That means beat it in Paragrane Falcon. Don't worry, buddy. I'm not gonna eat your babies. Not today anyways. I sent an in-reach message to the dispatch at Alcan Air. Alcan is my floatplane company, and they said they'd check in with me at 7 a.m. because, you know, just to make sure that the weather is okay. It's been really smoky. They're asking me if there's smoke, because if there's too much forest fire smoke, there's no visibility and they can't see where they're landing, etc. But it seems like the smoke has cleared up in a large sense, overcast. So as long as the weather stays good, they could fly in this, no problem. As long as the weather stays decent. Well, that is my pickup location, that gravel bar right there. Canyon Creek West, they call it. This is the last campsite of the trip. It doesn't seem too glamorous, but they can get a plane in here. It's deep enough and land it on shore. Not the best campsite, but I'll make do. Oh, the air smells amazing. It's about 8:30 right now. I'm gonna cook a fish, and I don't care, stay up pretty late and enjoy my last night in the Yukon. Gonna have to pull the spray deck off, get it ready to go on the floatplane tomorrow. When I ran that massive rapid today, the first one was intense, more technical. I just basically managed to avoid everything. But the second one was crazy, and I hit my line a little bit too far to the left, but I don't know. I could have maybe hit it further right, but I think really also what happened there was just that the line that I chose was just way bigger. I knew that I'd have at least one huge standing wave at the end, and that's, I think, what I hit. So I don't really think I think if I'd gone further left and hit like that huge hole, I guaranteed would have dumped. So I think I hit my line almost on, could have been a little further right, but that it was just way bigger than I'd anticipated. I mean, I put my dry suit on. Also, I knew that there's no pinning boulders, and the river got pretty relaxed after that. There was no flushing current, and if I dumped, I would have been okay and likely not have lost my boat. Plus, on top of that, I was only 3 kilometers from my pickup location, and I could have walked, worst come to worst. Spent a night out here with you know, my survival kit items. I would have been fine. Oh, it just feels nice not having to worry about it getting late and having to get up early. Like, I have to get up early, but I don't have to do anything except take down the tent and board a float plane. Piece of cake. Not much of a campsite here. This is not a spot I think to pull over and make camp. These are just like dead dry roots, little sticks that were floating in the current, and at high water got stuck to these. Let that burn down a little bit. Flaky, juicy. Oh my god, it's cooked perfect. Wow, this really hits the spot. What a majestic and beautiful fish Arctic grayling are. And they're just cool because they're typically in remote waters too, which makes them more elusive, and you have to work harder and take more time to get to them. There's just something so pure about traveling through an area that has been altered little by the hands of modern man. Catching your own beautiful fish out of a river of clean water and enjoying it beside the campfire that night. It's like the most delicious, most healthy food that you caught by yourself. It's just something so pure about it. The bugs wanted to come join me for the fish fry too, apparently. If there's anything I've learned about making pancakes with pancake mix, is that don't use it all up, because if you add too much water, you're having crepes at best, and there's nothing to thicken it back up with. Flip. Boom. Yeah, perfect. This is celebrating another adventure finished. Tomorrow the Floatplane is gonna be here probably between 9 and 9:30, I would guess. They're apparently leaving Mayo at 8. It's a pretty long flight. Perfect. That is a lot of food. And we have real maple syrup that Tori and I made from the maple sap that we tapped on the maple trees right on our property. It was a good little celebratory meal for what ended up being an epic last day of the trip, and have just an absolutely wild ride. By far the most intense rap of the trip. And I will say, as far as just a straight wave train or just a massive standing wave and like curling at the top, I don't think I've ever hit anything quite that insane in my entire canoeing career. I'm not out of here yet. Sometimes you can get weathered in, so fingers crossed, but I have completed the canoeing portion of my journey, and I might add, without one portage. That's pretty cool. I can't say that about most trips. So I'm gonna call it a night, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. We're gonna go for a little floatplane ride. Well, it seems like it's another absolutely beautiful day here in the Yukon. Looking like it's probably going to be good weather for my floatplane pickup, though. I see some kind of sketchy looking clouds here, but I don't know. I think that they'd fly in this. Depends on how it is near Mayo, though. You see me lug this puppy around on multiple trips, but you probably don't know if it works or not. So I just got word that my Floatplane is going to be here in about an hour. So I'm just packing everything up, having a coffee. I'm going to blast this puppy to make sure it works. It's a Remington 870 with slugs. Let's see what kind of damage she does. Yeah, so I hit it center and it just passed right through and blew a whole chunk out. Woo! Pretty good, man. I think slugs are a good way to go for bear protection. A lot of people suggest staggering their shot for bear protection, which is not a bad idea either. That's a slug there. 12 gauge. Staggering's not a bad idea. Starting with buck, then slug, then buck, then slug. Or they'll just start with a buck shot and then they'll go buck, slug, slug. And the reason that they do that is because oftentimes your first shot, the bear might be further away if it's charging at you, and you're going to be scared. So with buck, there's more of a spread and you don't have to be as accurate. And then by the time your second shot comes, maybe the bear's closer and you're more dialed in. You know, a slug probably is going to be more powerful, but a buck shot packs a hard punch too. So yeah, buck, boom, first shot, slug's probably a good way to go too when you're out here. Well, I am just waiting for my Floatplane pickup, and now that I've finished the Hart River and I just sat down to take a moment to have a coffee this morning, I just started thinking about the trip in general. Everything that it wasn't an intense, terrifying rapids around every corner kind of trip, but it was still spirited. I mean, especially up higher, there's tight turns, sweepers, and then the challenge of getting into Elliott Creek and realizing that the water there was not high and having to drag some more, and then that fear of, okay, well, what if the water level's dropping day by day and only gets worse? And now that these rapids I can wade through or drag over these rocks, if the current just disappears into the rocks at that point, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to portage endlessly for days and days on end. That would have taken me probably 12 days just to do that. And moving down the Hart, having just epic mountain scenery, amazing spires, just freestanding spires dotting the sides of the cliffs, and climbing Mount Nitro, finding the remains of some sort of, you know, old building that is very, very old, and spending some more time higher up river hiking, leaving myself with over 80K to do on my last 2 days, and the most challenging rapids of the trip made things feel a little pressed, but I'm glad I took that time to hike and spend my time in the more mountainous regions when I did. And then on my last day, just running what was one of the most intense rapids. The first one was challenging, but I managed to avoid everything. I remember being in it like, wow, these waves, these holes look massive. Have I misjudged this? Am I getting myself into trouble here? And I nailed it. Then the second one, running a line that was just completely insane. I came in, I lined up too far right. It's very hard to tell where you're lining up. I lined up too far right, almost went into the hole, had to steer, go this way and turn back this way. But unfortunately, I hit my line pretty close, to be honest with you. But no matter where I hit it, I was going to be hitting a massive, at least one massive standing wave. And I hit it a bit further to the left, and it just took me on a wild ride through the craziest wave train. One wave I went down, the waves completely covered me like this. The wave was boiling at the top, and I went way up like this, and I almost got stuck on that wave. It was so steep and big, and I just had to paddle hard and push myself up and over that wave. It was just incredible. Took in a lot of water, but not too much that I couldn't steer and eddy out and bail. So that was like phenomenally exciting experience. I was not expecting to get into any rapids that intense on this trip, let alone what is likely the most powerful, intense wave train I've ever run in my life before. Just an amazing experience, and one that I'll take with me for the rest of my life, that's for sure. To the Yukon. And there is my ride out of here. There's my ride out of here. It's all working. Okay, here we go.